Hey folks, it's Andrew here from Quick Crop, and today I want to talk to you about what you can sow in October, which is pretty much the last sowing month in the growing year, certainly in my garden anyway. Now there isn't a massive amount we can do, but there are a number of interesting seeds that we can sow. But what I probably should mention here is the majority of what we're talking about today is for sowing and growing undercover. So that means in a greenhouse or polytunnel. We do have a number of crops that we can plant outside and grow over winter, so stick around to the end of the video and I'll tell you what they are. So let's get started. So first of all, lettuce. Now it is late to sow lettuce, but as I said, we can do that undercover. Now lettuce is surprisingly cold tolerant and it will grow really slowly over the winter. You're not going to get much of a harvest, but the reason we're sowing it in October is once the tunnel or greenhouse warms up again, kind of mid-February, then we're going to get some really nice lettuce heads and it gives us a really good head start. What I would advise you to be careful of is that in the winter, when you have your greenhouse or tunnel closed up and you've got cold air that's not moving, you can get mildew on lettuce leaves. So my advice is, whenever the weather allows, do open up the doors and get a little bit of airflow through. Now, as regards varieties, you've seen them already. My favourites for winter are Marvel of Four Seasons and then Lettuce Lollo Rosso. Both of them really good with some mildew resistance. So as regards our sowing then and our harvest times, it's kind of the same sort of ding-dong for all these ones I'm going to mention, in that we're sowing in October, which is quite late, and you'll notice on a lot of seed packs it might say only sow up until September. The reason I'm sowing in October is because we're going to be growing undercover. So we have our Asian salad, so that's an Asian salad mix, but then we also supply seeds separately. So that's going to be, we have a range of 4 different rockets. We have a green and a red leaf mustard. There's a massive range of stuff here and really cold tolerant salads. We can also do kale. So these would be grown more for baby leaf. So there's loads of kale varieties. So there's Cavallo Nero, there's Red Russian, there's your classic green curly kale, winter boars, this one. And you can sow those and plant them out quite densely. You can harvest those for baby leaf, but then you can let them grow on a bit and then you can get some much bigger leaves than in the spring. You could also go for annual spinach. You could go for perpetual spinach. You could grow Swiss chard, but again, always keeping in mind that our harvest time is going to be late winter, early spring the following year. Now, I'm always banging on about sowing carrots at odd times in the polytunnel, but it does really work, and I find October is a brilliant time to do it. So you want to choose an early carrot variety. So this one is Amsterdam Forcing. Early Nantes is another good idea. And sowing directly into your beds in your polytunnel, I'd go as early as possible in October because carrots do need a bit of warmth to germinate. They're usually going to take about 2 weeks to germinate, but absolutely keep a really good look out for slugs, because in the slightly warmer temperatures in the winter, slugs are still active, whereas they're not going to be so active outside, and they can polish off your carrot seedlings in no time. But again, your carrots are going to be growing over the winter. I think you're going to get a surprising amount of growth, especially in a mild winter, and then it's going to be April, mid-May, then the next year you're going to be harvesting some really nice sweet medium-sized carrots, so really well worthwhile. So my daughter Anna, who's making the video, just said, "Dad, you never mentioned what climate zone we're in." And I understand that obviously is really important for gardeners. So where we are, I'm not sure what the actual zone is, but our climate in the northwest of Ireland is cool, temperate, oceanic. So we have mild winters and relatively cool summers, but the winter is what we're worried about today. So our temperatures go down to, I suppose, about maybe -2, -3 would be more typical when it gets really cold, but often we won't have frost for a couple of weeks, and it does stay quite warm in a polytunnel, relatively speaking. So I suppose that kind of gives you a gauge. But a good tip is, if you're unsure about your garden climate zone and all that, get yourself a soil thermometer, really handy to have, and you can just start tracking your temperature over the winter. So for example, in the first week of October here in the polytunnel, we're pretty much bang on 19, 20 degrees there. And I know from experience that the soil here never really goes below maybe 6 to 8 degrees, depending on what the weather is like outside. So that does enable me to keep some growth going over the winter. But anyway, back to the bench and let's keep going. And then our final thing, and these two we actually plant straight outside, and that is of course our garlic. So garlic, end of September, early October is the absolute ideal time. I did a video there a couple of weeks ago, it's on our channel, but basically what we're doing there is we're going to be breaking off our garlic cloves and planting each individual one in the ground. But check out our channel and I'll show you how to do that. And then of course we also have onions. Now it's important that they're overwintering onions, and it's not just a normal onion variety. This one here is Senshu yellow, and that's probably the most popular one. And again, I've already done a video on planting those, so go back out to the channel and have a look and I can show you all that. So for today then, I'm also making 2 short videos today in more detail about sowing the broad beans and also sowing the peas, so they should be up by the time that you watch this, so do have a look. And I just would ask you to remember that we're really serious about our seeds here at Quick Crop. They're our own seed varieties, we pack all our own seeds, and even though this is the end of the sowing season now, we're actually at the start of the time where you're going to order all your seeds, and I've got a whole load of new exciting varieties to add this year. If you check out our site maybe by the end of November, have a look at our channel as well. I've just been over to France to meet one of our fantastic seed suppliers, and we found loads of amazing tomatoes and peppers that we're going to add, so I really think you're going to like them. So look, thanks so much for watching. It's so important that you watch this channel for us because it helps us make these videos. Do like and subscribe and all that ding dong. Sign up to our newsletter or whatever, and let me help you turn you into a green fingered genius. Thanks for watching. See you next time.